You set yourself up a challenge of creating a piece of work every day for a year, Facets. That was very pivotal in many ways, where it was a changing of an aesthetic. It was using the same methods, the same tools, but creating something that was largely different. Now, the reception for that was huge, and it set you off on a different trajectory. What was your relationship with that series, or what was the rationale from moving away from what you were doing to this direction? Because it was quite drastic.
Absolutely. So, I started freelancing full time around 2005, and I started to, get work coming in. I was working for DC Shoes. I wrote for a whole lot of magazines. I can't even remember who else I worked for in that period, but like work was coming in. Nike jobs started coming in. I did a huge project for Verizon, and things just started to come in. Like the commercial world was very aligned with the aesthetic of what I was producing, and I sort of got it into my head that like I needed to make the work more complicated. I needed to like keep evolving technically. I needed it to be like, the craftsmanship behind it had to keep evolving, not just aesthetically, but I felt like I just had to work harder and harder on each piece. Like for some reason I had that idea in my head that working more on it meant better. And time went on, sort of, 2010, 11 were great with the Verizon stuff, Dolby, Nike stuff. And then work sort of started to thin out a little bit. And I was, creating a piece for Depthcore for one of our last chapters. And I'd spent 2 weeks on it, like every day. And it's awful. Like it still exists. It's on the internet. You can see it. It's just
the one you're talking about.
It's terrible. It's just a really terrible piece of work. It was overworked. I had no fun whatsoever making it. And no one had any fun looking at it, I promise you. And I just got to a point where I was like, I can't keep doing this. This isn't attracting anything. Like people aren't like, I've had a thing I've said before where I feel like attracts like. Mm-hmm. When you're having fun doing something and you're putting something pure and true into it, people are going to react with that, and that energy is going to come back to you. And this was just someone who was miserable, working really hard. No one's vibing with that. No one's putting anything good back on that. So I just had I just one day was just sitting there. My studio in New York, my apartment in New York, my corner of the living room where my computer was set up. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do something. I'm just going to make something today. Just one thing today. I'm going to put it out. This was early 2013. So it was right when Instagram was starting to be Instagram, I just looked down on the couch and there was a pillow there and it had a little geometric shape on it. I was like, all right, perfect. I'm just going to make a little geometric thing in 3D. And I'm going to put it out today. I'm just going to have one thing come out. It's just going to feel good. Like I just need a cleanse from this process. So I did it and it felt good. And I chucked it on Insta. Great. And so I did it again the next day as well. And, before you knew it, I'd done a week. And then I was like, maybe I'll do this for a month and have a show. And I was challenged, like, do it for a year. I'm like, all right, we'll do it for a year. And it was really freeing. I didn't have a whole lot of client work coming in because, I'd had... Commercial work, I find, is always a year behind personal work. Like whatever you're making, it usually takes a year for the commercial world to catch up onto it and want to sell it into a campaign, which was very much my focus at the time. I was making a living as a commercial artist. I wasn't trying to make it as a fine artist or do anything like that. I just wanted to make a living doing what I knew how to do, using my one marketable skill. And as the year went on, I just tried new and different things. I created the time in my day every day to make the piece. I've always felt, people fetishize inspiration. I think when you're an artist, if you're any kind of creative person, musician, writer, whatever, I think the most important thing you can do is just create the time, dedicated time, to create and let your imagination run free. And, the things that inspire you in life will come out naturally through that. You don't need to, have the greatest magazines, go to every single show, try and hunt inspiration.
Yeah, I agree, man.
You need to feed your imagination. You can't just stare at the wall all day, but it'll come out, and it'll especially come out if you give yourself these blocks of time where your only purpose is to play.